Hello and welcome to episode number 210 of the Launch Lounge podcast. Today's episode is called How Will the Election Impact Ad Costs? And after listening to today's episode, I hope you can confidently navigate the impact of the election on your ads and leave with some strategies to ensure your ads and your business grows even in election times. Hello, it is so lovely to be here with you today. I am back in Brisbane after about 2.5 weeks in lovely sunny South Africa, visiting my mum and visiting some family and some friends. It is the first time I have gone back to South Africa in 16 years without my husband or my children. So every time I've gone back, after my husband and I moved to Australia, it's been either him and me, or him, me and the kids, or me and the kids, and then he joined later. And it was delightful, delightful, lying on my mum's couch and being brought a cup of coffee every now and then, and just sitting down for dinner. And it was lovely spending some quality time with her as well. So for those of you who don't know, hasn't been around here for long, I am a South African by birth. Grew up in South Africa. I lived in London for 3 years when I was 23 to 25, 22 to 25. I lived in London and then moved back to South Africa. And when I was about 27, my husband and I got engaged and then moved to Australia. And today I'm 44 and we're still here. And I've got 2 little Aussie kids. And everybody tells me my accent has changed. And then my Aussie friends tell me I'm starting to sound like an American because I talk to Americans all day. So, yeah, and that is how we're here. But this question I get asked so many times in the last couple of weeks. Actually, to be honest, this question was raised at the beginning of the year already when everyone was doing their annual planning. Some of my clients asked me, what do we plan for in terms of this period of the election? And every time somebody says they want to launch in October, November, of course, the conversation is every time, what do we need to keep in mind around the election? And as we're getting closer to election in the US, the question is coming up more and more. And so I thought I would answer this question because it is going to come up every 4 years. And I will say that, the way that we accommodated the election, the let's say 2-3 elections ago. So what would that be? 4, 8, so like 12 years ago. Gosh, that's how long I've been in the game, is different than what we saw unfold 8 years ago, which again is different than what we saw 4 years ago. The reality is that more and more and more politicians are relying on Facebook and Instagram ads. And it is a reality we need to consider. So today I'm going to unpack all the realities that we need to consider. And I'm going to also put it in perspective for you. And then I'm going to give you a few practical things you can do to navigate this period. So the first thing that I want to share with you about the election is let's talk about why it becomes more expensive in an election year. I want you to think of the newsfeed as a piece of land, right? So the newsfeed is a piece of land with a finite space. So there's a finite possibility for ads to be placed. Whenever Meta places an ad in somebody's newsfeed, so even if you're scrolling really fast, if that ad makes it into your newsfeed, whether you see it or not, whether you scroll past it very quickly or not, if an ad makes it into your newsfeed, that is considered an impression. And I want you to consider that impression takes up a piece of land. It takes up a piece of space. And there is only so many spaces that can be sold to advertisers. So when we're placing ads, we're effectively bidding for the right to get an impression. And that, what Facebook, how we can see that is in our numbers, in our ads manager, we can see that by what Meta calls the CPM. So when you're looking at your ad account and you're looking at all your data, you'll see there's a column called CPM. It stands for cost per 1,000 impressions. And you will see that number go up during an election year. You will see it becomes more and more and more expensive the more people bid for those impressions, because with a bidding system, the impression goes to the person who paid the most for the impression. And so the more bidders there are competing against each other for that impression, the higher it pushes that price. So we bid for impressions. So the more advertisers there are, or the bigger the budgets of these advertisers that we compete with, the less likely we are to win the auction. Now, politicians probably have bigger budgets than you and I, most of them, well, at least the ones that count. And political ad budgets get dumped during an election. It is really important to them to advertise as much as they can during an election. The number of advertisers we compete with increases, and so there are more competitors bidding for the impressions that we want. So when you look at your CPM, I want you to go to your ad account right now, after you finish listening to this, and look at the different ads that you're running. And I'm going to use conversion ads by default in this conversation, because if you're running something like engagement ads that I teach all of my A-lister students, engagement ads are so very top of the funnel and they're so cheap anyway. They're not going to make or break our budgets. Plus, engagement ads aren't the ads that we, use to measure the return on ad spend of our, overall business and our overall business results on the ads manager. So I'm mostly talking about conversion ads today, because conversion ads are the ads we use to build our email lists. They are the ads we use to fill our webinars, to get people into our video series. They're the ones where we get the leads, and lead cost is, matters. Lead cost is important to us. We want to keep that cost as low as possible. So after you listen to this episode, I want you to go to your ad manager and make a note of any conversion ads that you're running, what your CPM is today. What you're likely to see is during the course of October, your CPM will possibly increase. If it does increase, that means there are more bidders competing for those impressions, and it is likely due to the election. What should you do? You just keep an eye on it, all right? We're going to talk a little bit more about strategies later, but I just want to start by bringing your attention to your CPMs and having you make a note of your CPM right now. And then I don't want you to measure it every day. If you do it, any ad number that we measure every day will just drive us nuts because it fluctuates day to day. But in a week, I want you to make a note of your CPM again and just write it down, just so that you have some history of your CPM at the beginning of October 2024 during an election year, and every week for the next 6 weeks. I want you to make a note of your CPM so that you have it documented somewhere, so that you have a history that you can go back to and say, well, in the previous election, this is what we looked at and this is the impact that it had. Because when fear starts playing with your emotions, it's nice to be able to have something tangible to go back to and say, well, hang on, no. During the last election, we tracked this and we looked at it. And so we don't have to imagine things. We don't have to fear things and then make decisions based on emotions. We can look at data and make decisions based on that. All your other numbers, if your CPM is going up, if only the CPM is going up, that is the impact of a higher bidding cost during the election year. Now, that will automatically mean everything else below CPM if your CPM goes up, your cost per lead will obviously be slightly more expensive. Because the CPM is more expensive. It is costing you more to get in front of people than, which means if you're paying more to get in front of people, then that will trickle down into your cost per lead as well. However, there are two numbers that absolutely should not change during an election. The one number is your unique link click-through rate. Unique link click-through rate. That number should stay above 1%. If you can keep it above 2%, even better. But aim to keep it above 1%. If it is above 1% before the election starts impacting ads, and you see it drop below 1%, there's something else going on. You're somehow putting the wrong ad in front of the wrong people. So either you have a messaging problem or you have an audience targeting problem. Your unique link click-through rate should stay the same. The other number that should stay the same is your landing page conversion rate. So what I want to say to you is, if you look at your numbers weekly and you notice that you're paying more for a lead right now than you were a month ago, look at your unique link click-through rate. Is that still where it was? If the answer is yes, do nothing. Look at your landing page conversion rate. Is that still where it was? It should be above 45%. If the answer is yes, do nothing. If any of those two numbers are drastically different than they were a month ago, you have a different problem. You do not have an election problem. You have a messaging or an audience problem. And so if you look at stuff and it's getting more expensive, but your click-through rate is the same and your landing page is the same, that means the number of bidders in the auction is impacting the cost of your ads. Do nothing. Do nothing. Do not fiddle with it. Do not bring the budget down. Do not push the budget up. Just leave it. For this month, just leave it. The reason I don't want you to push the budget up is because then the algorithm is going to settle in a period where there is a lot more bidders. So just do nothing, okay? Just keep an eye on it. So that's the first thing you can do, is look at your CPMs and look at your data, look at your unique click-through rate, and look at your landing page conversion rate and make a decision on what you should do. And if you see your ads are impacted by the election, do nothing. But if your click-through rate and your landing page rate is lower, then you have a different problem. You have to fix that problem. All right. The second thing is, keep campaigns that have been running and is stable as they are and don't touch them. Now, I've just touched on that, but if you have evergreen funnels or list building funnels or evergreen webinars or any low dollar offers and they're working and they're converting, do not turn them off because of the election. Do not turn them off during this time, and don't adjust the budget either. Simplicity and stability is the algorithm's dream. The algorithm loves simplicity and stability, particularly for coaches and course creators, because we run very long funnels. It's not like an e-commerce business where somebody sees the ad for your widget today and they go straight to your website and they read a blog post and they click on an ad and they buy the thing, right? You do not make money tomorrow based on your sales unless you have an evergreen funnel in place. Now, even those evergreen funnels, if it's an evergreen webinar, for example, there could be 5 to 7 days between when that person opts in for your pre-recorded webinar to when they purchase. And because of these longer funnels that coaches and course creators have, it is really important that we try to keep the algorithm as happy as we can. Try to keep it as stable as it can. I have clients and students who have used the same webinar ads for 4 years, and they still work and they don't need fixing. The more you fix it, the more you fiddle with it, the more the algorithm gets disrupted. So just keep things as they are. even if you have to take a little bit of a hit this month, even if you go, well, my evergreen funnel at this cost is not going to be profitable, that's okay. It is more likely to go back to being profitable in November than it is if you switch it all off and you start again in November. Okay, so don't switch it off. And then look at your results month on month, not week on week and not day on day. Definitely not day on day. You will be in a straitjacket very quickly if you look at your results day to day. Look at it month to month, all right? You've got to be in the green every month. And looking at it week to week is good because it shows you where you're heading. But week to week can also be a bit stressful. Make sure you're profitable month on month. Okay, so that was number 2. Keep your campaigns that have been running and is stable as they are and do not touch them. All right, the third thing I want you to know is if you have to start new campaigns, give yourself a lot of time for those ads to be approved before it needs to run. Meta announced this week that they're limiting social issues in inverted comma ads starting from October 29. They will not allow any new ads to be submitted for approval after October 29 if the ads are social issue ads. Now, most politicians, most political parties, they run social issue ads. You will know if you're in that special category, right? So if you are in that special category, you run social issue ads, you're a not-for-profit or political party, then you need to know that only ads that have been approved and have had at least one impression by October 29 will be allowed to run during November. Okay, you will not be allowed to submit new ads for approval if they are social issue ads. Everybody else is fine. You can submit your ads. And if they have not had at least one impression. So right now, during the month of October, we are going to see a massive amount of ad creatives getting submitted for approval, which means us regular Joes out here, our ads could take longer to get approved because there's only so much time in a day and only so many people who can approve ads. And Meta does have algorithms that approve ads and disapprove ads. But just know that we're in a space right now where the floodgates have absolutely been opened on ads that needs to be approved. And I'm fairly certain that Meta takes this quite seriously. I mean, you can always be surprised when you learn how little they take these things seriously, but I'm fairly confident to say that they're taking it seriously and they are having humans look at social issue ads. Now, that could mean that there's a delay in your ads getting approved. So if you are doing a live webinar or a live launch, or for any reason you need live ads running at a certain time, give yourself, I want to say, 5 days. 5 days. You might only need 24 or 48 hours, right? But give yourself 5 days to submit those ads, to have them approved, and then schedule them to start running when they need to start running, because you don't want to be sitting with an account that has ads that aren't approved and running yet because Meta is too inundated with approving political ads. Okay. So that is the third thing that I want you to be aware of, is have your ads approved early and soon. Right. The last thing I want you to be aware of as far as the election goes is, remember, right after the election, we've got Black Friday, right? So people are already starting to gear up. Really, if you think about it, in terms of big e-commerce sales pushes, we are about to enter the absolute most expensive time of the year. So the election's going to come and go. But as soon as we're out of election season, we're going to be in Black Friday season. And most people treat the entire month of November, most of the big e-commerce companies, the entire month of November as a Black Friday month. And then we're on to Christmas. And, we're not going to see stability in our ads until January. And in the past, Marie Forleo used to launch B School in February. So I remember years where I don't know when Marie launches B School now anymore. I'm not paying much attention to that anymore. But I remember February being ridiculously expensive because everybody who was affiliates for Marie used to run ads during that time. And so anyone in the online marketing industry was always complaining about how expensive ads were during Marie Forleo's B School launches. So I guess the thing is, Q4 is one of the most expensive times for ads. But on the flip side of that is people are buying. So you get to choose whether you stay on the side of the side of the people who go, well, ads are too expensive. I'm just not going to advertise during this time. Or if you look at it as an opportunity and you decide during election, we're just going to keep our ads stable. We're just going to change as little as possible, keep everything running, keep everything smooth. And then we're going to go big on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And we're going to make sure we get some pieces of this e-commerce, this shopping mania pie that is up for grabs. So many people that I know save their money for Black Friday to do Christmas shopping. They wait for those big ticket items that they love, that they want, until Black Friday. So start preparing for Black Friday and start thinking like a winner. Start thinking like someone who is in charge of their ads, someone who is really going to take ads seriously and who are going to run ads during elections, because elections is a real part of life. During Black Friday, and make the most of Black Friday. During Christmas, and make the most of Christmas. Elections happen as a problem that luckily can be anticipated and catered for. And after listening to this episode, you now know how to cater for it. You get to choose whether you let it impact your business or if you prepare for it and come up with some great solutions for how you'll navigate and ride it out, just like you do all of your other business challenges that you have already overcome and that you're going to overcome in the future. So, my key takeaway for you is keep your list building ads on and keep the budget the same. If you have new ads you'll be submitting for approval, do it soon, do it early. Get them approved long before you need them to run. And then create some great offers for your audience for Q4 so that you can recoup some of that ad spend during the holiday shopping frenzy. And my wish is really for you that you have a fabulous experience setting up your ads, getting your ads ready, marketing your business, and you get your name out there despite all of these other stuff that goes on in the world. If you have an online courses or coaching business that is already profitable and you're ready to hire the best ads team to help you scale your business with Facebook and Instagram ads, I want to invite you to apply for one of the openings we have in our agency right now. We've opened up 2 spots for new clients starting on November the 1st, and we are actively looking for 2 coaches or course creators who are ready to open the floodgates of traffic on their profitable funnels so they can scale to 7 figures faster. If that sounds like you, I want to invite you to go to thelaunchlounge.com/agency and apply to work with my team right now. I'll see you again very soon. Bye.